Have you ever found yourself wondering about the right terms for female anatomy or just how it all works? If so, you're definitely not alone. So today we're going to demystify the female external genitals. Honestly, understanding our own bodies is such a huge part of health and wellness. And our goal here is to make all of this information super clear, accessible, and just straightforward.
Welcome to MediByte. Here, our whole thing is breaking down complex medical topics into simple, clear explainers, because we truly believe that knowledge is power. And today, our focus is exactly that, giving you a respectful, straightforward guide to female anatomy.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We've got 5 key sections. We'll kick things off with the why, the core purpose. Then we'll take a tour of the external anatomy, zoom in on function and sensation, see how it all connects to the inside, and wrap up with why this knowledge really matters.
All right, Section 1. Let's start with the fundamentals. Before we get into the names of all the individual parts, it's super helpful to understand their overall purpose. What are they there for? These external structures are designed to do a few absolutely crucial jobs for the body.
So what are those big jobs? Well, it really boils down to 3 main things. First, allowing sperm to enter the body for reproduction. Second, protecting the internal organs from infection. And third, providing lubrication and sexual pleasure. Think of these as the why behind all the anatomy we're about to explore. Every single part has a specific, important role to play in these functions.
Okay, time for our anatomical tour. Now, a key term to know right off the bat is vulva. That's the correct medical term for all of the external parts, all together. So we're going to map out these structures one by one, starting right from the top.
First up is the mons pubis. This is that rounded mound of fatty tissue that sits right over the pubic bone. What's so interesting about it is that it has a dual role. Of course, it provides some physical cushioning, but it also contains these special glands that release pheromones. Those chemical signals that can play a part in sexual attraction. Pretty fascinating, right?
Moving down, we have the labia majora. You can think of them as the outer lips. And a great way to remember their function is to think of them as the gatekeepers. Their main job is to enclose and protect all the other, more delicate structures inside. Plus, they also have sweat and oil glands that help out with lubrication.
And just inside the labia majora, you'll find the labia minora, or the inner lips. Now this is super important. These can vary a ton in size and shape from person to person, and that is all completely normal. What's key here is that they have a very rich blood supply, and that's why they're so central to sexual response. When someone's stimulated, blood rushes to this area, which causes them to swell and become even more sensitive.
Okay, so we've mapped the outer protective layers. Now let's zoom in on the functional hubs that are nestled right inside them. This is where we get to the real action centers, for sensation and for the crucial openings for urination and intercourse.
Right at the top where the inner lips meet is the clitoris. This small structure is just packed with thousands and thousands of nerve endings. And what's so unique about it, its sole purpose is sexual pleasure. That's it. And what's even more amazing is that the part you can see is really just the tip of the iceberg. It's part of a much larger internal structure that's completely dedicated to sensation.
Now this is where things get really interesting, biologically speaking. The clitoris is the female counterpart to the male penis. They actually develop from the same embryonic tissue. And they share these key characteristics. Both are extremely sensitive to stimulation, and both can become erect when they fill with blood during arousal.
Okay, nestled within the labia minora are 2 separate openings, and this is a really common point of confusion, so let's clear it up. The first, higher up opening is the urethral opening. Its only job is to carry urine from the bladder. Then, below that is the vaginal opening, also called the introitus. This is the entryway for intercourse, and it's also the exit for menstrual blood and, of course, for childbirth.
So, how does the body prepare for intercourse? Well, it actually has its own built-in lubrication system. These are called the Bartholin glands. There are 2 of them, located just beside the vaginal opening. And when stimulated, they secrete a fluid that provides natural lubrication. It's the body's amazing way of getting ready for comfortable sex.
So, we've covered pretty much everything on the outside. But to really get the full picture, we need to see how these external parts connect to the internal organs. So, let's take a peek just past the entrance to see that pathway.
Right inside the vaginal opening, there's a thin ring of tissue called the hymen. And look, it's really important we clear up a major myth here. Yes, it can tear during first intercourse, but it can also be stretched or torn by tons of other things, like playing sports, riding a bike, or even just using a tampon. So its presence or its absence is absolutely not a reliable indicator of, well, of anything really.
That vaginal opening leads into the vagina. And it's not just an empty space. It's a soft, stretchable tube made of muscle tissue. In an adult, it's about 4 to 5 inches long, and its elasticity is just remarkable. That's what allows it to accommodate everything from intercourse to childbirth. It's really the crucial bridge between the outside world and the uterus inside.
And here is a mind-blowing fact that really puts this whole system into perspective. That pathway we've been tracing, starting from the outside, ultimately leads all the way to the ovaries. And get this, a female is born with all the egg cells she will ever have. We're talking somewhere between 1 and 2 million. It's just an incredible number that connects the anatomy we can see on the outside to the profound potential for reproduction that's housed deep inside the body.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From the outermost structures all the way to the internal connections. So now, let's bring it all home and talk about why knowing all of this is so incredibly important.
So what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, remember that the external genitals have those 3 key jobs: protection, reproduction, and pleasure. Second, knowing the correct terms is so important for talking clearly with your doctor about your health. A huge one is remembering that all bodies are different, and anatomical variation is totally normal. And maybe most importantly, understanding your own body is the absolute first step toward taking charge of your own health and well-being.
So as we wrap up, I want you to think for a second. What's the most important thing you're taking away from this? Was there one fact that really stood out, or maybe a myth that got cleared up for you? Sometimes true understanding just starts with one of those little aha moments.
Thank you so much for joining us on MediByte. If you found this explainer helpful, please give it a like and share it. You never know who else it could help. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more clear, simple health explainers just like this one. We'll see you in the next one.